Hello everyone, welcome back to my channel and welcome to my Plan With Me digital bullet journal. This month I decided to go with a plant theme. I've been having a lot of blue themes and so I wanted to get back to my greens, which is my favorite color. So I'm very excited about this month's journal entry, Plan With Me. I decided to go with plants and so I just went onto Google and typed in different plant names and just used the reference photos to draw these sketches. So what I'm doing here is I'm just in Procreate with the pencil tool, just sketching out my drawings first. I did do them all on one layer, but you'll see when I do this one here that I needed to move it, and it does make it tricky when they are all on the one layer to move it. It is still possible, but it is a little bit more tricky. So I would suggest doing them all in separate layers so that way you can move them around. But yeah, I did just draw them all on the one layer and it still did work. But here I am just sketching out all of my plants. After I finished my sketches, I just went onto Pinterest to try and find some color palettes. I found these two by the same person on Pinterest and I did not save who it was, but they were found on Pinterest. So what I just did is I just added all the colors into my color palette, and now I'm just going and on separate layers, going and outlining my drawings with a solid brush. This brush is called Monoline and it comes with Procreate. It's just a free brush already found within it. I love using this for any of my outlines, and I'm just dropping in the colors. I did end up cutting out some of me drawing this plant because this plant took hours to draw, not literal hours, but it did feel like a very long time. So if you actually enjoy watching every single tiny little leaf get drawn and filled, let me know in the comments, because I cut it out just to kind of save time on the video. But if that's something that you actually enjoy watching, let me know so next time I can keep that in there, because I did have the footage of all of it, but yeah, as you can see, I did just fast track to the end of my plant because that plant was very tedious to draw and to fill in. Here I'm just using the smudge tool in Procreate to add a little bit of color dimension. I actually didn't end up doing this in many of my plants just because when I went in to edit each leaf individually, it was just taking a lot more time than I wanted it to take, and I just liked the simple look of the drawn plants. But obviously each to their own, you can decorate them as much as you want or as little as you want. So here I am just moving on to my next plant. It is very important to make sure that you are drawing them in the different layers in case you wanted to erase anything, go back on anything, delete anything. And it's also very easy here, like what I just did, making a layer disappear to color drop the colors into the leaves. So I just did this with all of my remaining plants and then put them into my GoodNotes. When you're ready to export it, what I do to make it very easy to use in GoodNotes is I get rid of the background, which is one of the layers, so you can actually just unselect the background layer, which you'll see me doing very briefly soon. And then in the exporting, you go to PNG and make sure that you do it all together. You can do them all separately, but I just do it all together because it's very easy to then add into my stickers page. So what I'm doing here is I'm making a stickers page. I did not do this for January, and I wish that I did, because I had to keep just going back to pages where I use the stickers. So the idea of this is to have one page that has all the stickers you're going to use that month, and you can just come to this page and copy and paste whatever stickers you're going to use. I just copied the one set of my sticker sheet and then just freehanded outlining them in the crop feature of GoodNotes. Now they're all individual stickers for me to use through all of my spreads. The font that I decided that I wanted to use for February is called Grazie. It will be in my description of this video. You can download it free from dafont.com, which will also be in my description if you would like to use this font as well. It's completely free, and there are plenty of YouTube videos out there that show you how to download and how to install fonts onto your iPad. So if you want to, you can go and look that up to use the same font that I used. So everything that you see on this page was saved as elements from my January plan with me, and then I just added the notes section on the side and just a few of the plants scattered. I did notice throughout my planning that I wish that I'd drawn some smaller plants. All the plants that I drew were rather big, so if that's something that you want to do, I'd definitely recommend having a more variety of plants. I only think I had 5, and I really could have used some smaller plants, but I made it work. Here I'm just making a social media prompts page just to make sure that I am keeping up with my social media posts. I understand I spelled calendar wrong, don't worry, I go back and fix it before my final flip through. But yeah, so what I'm doing here is I just have some social media prompts, story prompts and post prompts, and I actually forgot to add in my codes, and I put all my codes in for my colors, because in GoodNotes you have to add colors if you don't want to select from the palette. You have to add them in, and so I did that. Once again, I also did that off camera. If that's something you like seeing, just let me know in the comments and I will keep that in. I just thought it was a bit tedious going backwards and forwards and pasting the color codes in. Next up was my mood tracker, and I thought it would be really fun this month as my mood tracker to color in a plant. So here I am in Procreate, just using my sketch tool to sketch out a plant, making sure that it had 28 leaves on it. I love to use the guidelines in Procreate because I always end up drawing things skew. So the guidelines is my best friend, and here I am just drawing out 28 different leaves, and I will color in the leaves according to my mood, and at the end of the month I will have a full plant. It does look very bare and boring at the moment just because it is a very empty plant, but it will fill up as the month goes out, and I think it's a very creative way of showing my mood. Next, I started my habit tracker. I know a lot of people like to do a box for each habit, but I just really like to just have it all on a XY axis line. I had to put in these numbers individually just because when I typed them in the text, it didn't quite line up with the dots on my page, which really frustrated me. Once again, I didn't put in me inserting all the numbers. If that's something you like seeing, let me know in the comments so that then I can keep stuff in you guys like seeing and take stuff out that you guys don't like seeing. But I'm going to fill in my habits by myself after this video, but I just made sure to leave enough space to do my habits down the bottom, and just added some plants in to decorate it. Next, I started my I am grateful for page. I loved this page all throughout January, and I actually really stuck with it, which was awesome. I'm keeping the exact same spread that I had in January, but just with my new colors and with my new themes. So here I am just counting out 28 of the little boxes and putting half on one page and half on the other page, and then decorating it with some of my plant pictures. Something that I wanted to add for February that I didn't do in January was a monthly books and a monthly playlist. So this is just a spot where I can come and put all the books that I read in February or listened to in February, give them a rating, and it's a very simple spot. I do have a GoodNotes journal just for my books, but this can kind of just be, so at the end of the year I can just look through and see what books I actually read in which month, and that way my in-depth review will be in my book journal, but I can still see in my flip through at the end of the year what books I read in what month. And I just thought it would be a fun, more way to make my journal more reflective. That's something I noticed that I really want to focus on. I want my journal to be full of memories that I can reflect on rather than to-do lists. And that's very individual as to whether you want your journal to be for your to-do lists or whether you want it to be more memory based. That's also why I added my monthly playlist, because I love making monthly playlists. I've been making them for almost 6 years now, and so I thought it would be really cool to reflect on what songs I was listening to each month at the very end of the year. So that is what I'm doing here. So as you can see there with my monthly book recap, I'm just adding it as an element as soon as I'm done, so that next month I can very easily just copy and paste the element and then change the text font to whatever font I pick for March. And for my little stars, I drew them in Procreate, and I just decided to use rectangles. For my monthly playlist, I'm using squares, and I'm just putting in, I think I put enough for about 15 songs, but you could definitely make them smaller if you end up adding more songs. I have noticed that since I've been listening to audiobooks that I actually listen to less songs, but I can just put my main ones in here and I can always adjust it. That's what I love about digital journaling, is that I can just go in and change it up to suit my needs. Another spread that I'm adding in February that I didn't have in January is my verse of the day. So the Bible app that I use puts out a verse of the day. I know there are several different apps that do that, and they put a image version of the verse of the day. So I thought it would be really cute to just collect them all throughout the month and be able to reflect back on all the different verses that could put out that month. I also added this as an element so that I can easily copy and paste it again next month. I highly recommend using elements in GoodNotes once you've drawn something that you're going to use over and over again. I then just decorated the page with 2 simple plants because it will be filled with images, so it will become a very busy spread. Now I'm up to my weekly spreads. Last month I did have a weekly spread and then also a page for each individual day. However, I felt like I didn't use the pages as much. So this month I'm going to get rid of the individual pages and I'm just going to have my weekly spread. I've made the boxes much larger so that I can write in a full to-do list on each day. And I think this will make my journal less cluttered with to-do lists and more centered on just, like what I said, the memories, being able to look back on my mood and the verse of the day, what books I read and things like that. That's kind of my goal for this journal, is to be more reflective. And so the weekly spreads are very repetitive. I tried to make the plant decoration and arrangement on each page different, but everything else is the same. I'm just going through and using a highlighter to draw the number, and then using the pen tool, to just write out the day in cursive, and then adding a little note section at the bottom, going backwards and forwards to my sticker page and just adding in stickers, trying to make each page look a little bit different so that it gives me that diversity throughout the month. I'm going to have all the resources and fonts and everything that I used in this video down in my description, so go and check it out if you want to use anything that I used. The only thing I won't have in there is my sticker set. I would like to make my sticker sets available to you guys in the future, so comment down below if that's something you are interested in being able to have a free download of my sticker sets. Just mention that in the comment section down below. If you've enjoyed the video so far, make sure to give it a like. That really does encourage me to keep making videos in the future. I am going to be making a monthly spread plan with me video for every month of 2022. So if you would like to watch my March one, come back in the last month of February and I should have that up and ready to go for you to follow along and plan with me for March. Other than that, I hope that you have a great rest of your day and I will see you next week. Bye.